Charlton was absolutely essential. If I hadn't gone up to see Charlton, then none of the rest would have happened the way it did.
They gave me work when I didn't have it.
That's where it all began, in Charlton.
The beauty of Charlton is everything was done under the same roof.
Management there was questionable at times at best.
I think there was a matter of right hand not talking to the left hand.
These two gentlemen met in jail.
They put together this company called Charlton because both of them had a son named Charles.
And then when they got out, they started publishing.
At one point, they actually did have to move the comics operation into a bowling alley.
Suddenly you hear a strike and somebody going, yeah! You know?
Charlton was a sidewater of a sidewater, and they were out there doing their thing, and nobody was paying any attention.
And then there was Charlton that was producing what seemed to be kind of off-brand. I couldn't quite tell what they were doing.
Charlton was just a hodgepodge of weird titles.
It was the three-legged dog of comics.
Guys were free to do really whatever they wanted within the boundaries of good taste in the comics code.
CATAP. Yes, cheap. They were cheap.
Hell yes, they're cheap.
John threw nickels around like they were manhole covers. He was the cheapest guy you ever met.
What they needed was carbon-based life forms who knew how to type.
I don't know how much I should be saying about this.
Charlton was selling some of their characters to multiple people. That's kind of funny.
Well, I'd be willing to confess to a felony on camera. Sure.
The printing press that they had was used to print cereal boxes, which is a whole different process altogether.
Printing was horrible. Paper was much lower quality than anybody else was using.
You could smell them beginning to decay even as they were rolling off the presses. Or you'd pick up a comic book and the wrong insides would be in the cover.
They decided to shred tons of archival comic book pages.
Somebody just throwing out these original pages because they couldn't possibly conceive of them being valuable.
Beautiful artwork. They lay it on the floor so the guy painting the seal didn't drip paint on the floor.
And if it was a bad snowy day, they would throw them down on the floor so it would absorb all the slush.
It's something out of a sitcom, which I suppose is why you're making this documentary.
Charlton has its place and deserves to be remembered.
The Charlton guys were the new guys on the block, trying really hard.
I just happened to be there at the right place at the right time.
There was a creative, powerful force that lived at Charlton Comics, and it was producing top quality work.
I loved working for Charlton. I could have used more money.
It was the people from Charlton that added juice to DC Comics.
They gave to the comic book industry a lot of good characters.
There wouldn't be a Watchmen if it wasn't for the Charlton characters.
I think Charlton should be proud of the stuff they put out.
It showed in the work. I mean, some people were busting their butts and coming out with amazing stuff.
I'm perfectly willing to say sometimes you really do win the lottery, and I did.